Hi, welcome to Digital Citizenship, presented by me, Tara Graves, for the 21st Century Learning Division. Our objectives for the webinar are to increase your understanding of digital citizenship, understand the importance of good digital citizenship, increase your awareness of resources for teaching digital citizenship to students, and also to motivate you to explore more resources for digital citizenship. First of all, I'd like to draw your attention to our 6 dimensions. We call this our guiding framework, and when the video stops, you'll be directed to this document here. This is the framework we use when we work with teachers to make them more aware of what goes into creating a 21st century learning environment. If you look across the bottom, you'll see that there are 6 different dimensions. And there are 3 in particular that are strongly supported by the content of this webinar, and we'll look at that a little bit later. But basically, if you look at each dimension, starting from the bottom and working your way up, as you are planning learning activities, you want to check and see if your activity fits these criteria. And if you say yes to the first box, then you will move up to the next one, and so on. This is just to make you more aware of what goes into making a 21st century learning environment as you are planning lessons and learning activities. So, what is digital citizenship? Well, it's a concept which helps teachers, technology leaders, and parents to understand what students should know to use technology appropriately. It's basically how to be a good citizen when you're dealing with things that are online. It's more than just a teaching tool. It's a way to prepare students for a society full of technology. Children that were born at the turn of the century, we know them as millennials, they don't know any other way. And kids now, from now on till the end of time, will not know another way, another world without technology. So we need to let them know how to behave appropriately and be productive. So what is it still? It's the norms of appropriate, responsible technology use. These are 8 elements here that this is taken from Common Sense Media, and a lot of the resources I will share with you during this webinar come from Common Sense Media. But these are the 8 that they have lessons for all grade levels to address these different elements. So internet safety, privacy and security, relationships and communication, cyberbullying, digital footprint and reputation, self-image and identity, information literacy, and creative credit and copyright. So first, let's take a look at internet safety. Basically, the idea is, how do I go online safely? There's things to think about: your passwords, what are safe and appropriate websites, what kind of personal information do I share online, and also risky communication, things that may put children in danger. I'm going to click on this link here and show you this infographic on the risks of posting in social networks. So if you look at some of these, there's Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Mixi, Sina, Weibo, Tumblr, and LinkedIn. These are various types of social media. You've probably heard of at least 1 or 2 of those. And it shows what types of information are shared through those tools. So if you take a look at that, it could be pretty scary if kids don't know exactly what is being shared with basically strangers around the world, depending on how they create or set up their privacy settings. Some of the lessons you'll find in Common Sense Media. Here's some of the content. For primary grades, they learn about exciting places they can go online, but also rules that they need to follow, and also being safe when they're choosing websites to look at. So parents should always be aware of what their children are doing, and teachers need to be aware also. As they get older, they're looking at issues like bullying or being mean to people online or in different social networks. They also learn how to build relationships online, but also make sure that they are keeping certain things private, like their bodies or their address. And as students get older, in the lessons, they also look at how to make sure they're not messaging or being inappropriate with the social media that they use. So when the video stops, you'll be directed to take a look at these two videos here. The first one in the upper left corner is the Think Before You Post, and this is a whole ad campaign directed to teenagers especially for thinking about things before they post them, and some of the examples they show, it's pretty scary, and unfortunately it's based on things that have happened. So the second one is about those relationships that can grow online without ever meeting someone face to face, and some of the risks involved there. So when the video stops, go ahead and take a look at those two videos and then return to this webinar. So yeah, pretty scary. It's a reality, and so it's up to teachers and parents to work together to make sure students are being safe and that they really understand what it is they're doing when they go online. Our next topic is privacy and security. So how do I keep my information private? Looking at passwords, the importance of passwords, why it's good to have a variety of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and so on, not using personal information within the password so that it would be easy for someone to guess it. Also looking at what kind of data is stored on websites and actually sold to other companies. Being aware of the privacy policies of websites that you use. Making sure you know if a website is secure. Making sure when you're buying things online that it's secure. Looking at your digital footprint, so what you're leaving behind on the internet when you post things or search for things or buy things. And then also investigating identity theft and what can happen there. ISTE is also a international association of teachers and educators for using technology in education, and they have a couple other elements of digital citizenship that they mention, and there's very closely to this. They call it digital security and rights and responsibilities. So and on Common Sense Media, some of the lessons that they have starting in the younger grades is learning how to see what happens to information that you post and how it leaves a trail and they are um, introduced to the concept of a digital footprint. Also exploring how to create strong passwords, how do you protect yourself from identity theft, looking at what spam is. So when they think, they've won a prize when they're on a website and it's all flashy and they click on it, and the problems that can cause if you do that. Also, as they get older, they have to start thinking about, okay, well, what did I post on Facebook as a teenager that might be a problem for me as I get older? So that's a concern for them to think about. Okay, here's two more short videos. The first one on the left is you may have seen is the Citibank cards about identity theft, and they have a whole campaign on this. And then the one on the right is actually a news story on photo geotagging and some of the problems that can cause. So when the video stops, go ahead and watch those two videos and then come back to the webinar. Okay, so yeah, pretty scary on those photos. And there'll be some resources on our Pinterest page, on the Pinterest board regarding how to turn that off on your phone settings. Our next topic is relationships and communication. So how do I behave online? We know this term friending, so if I want to friend somebody, let's say Facebook, for example, I send them a friend request and they can accept it or not. And some of those settings also allow their friends to see what I'm posting and also to friend me. And so if you think about it, children can get online and have hundreds of friends in under a 5-minute time span, and these could be people that are potentially harmful to them. So, being good parents and making sure we understand what our kids are doing on social networks and what their privacy settings are, and knowing exactly who their friends are is something that we should be doing. They do have to be a certain age to get accounts, but all the kids are finding ways around it. So teachers and parents need to make sure that you are aware of all the different social networks your children are getting onto. For parents, it's a good idea to, if you do allow them to have like a Facebook account or a Twitter account, make sure that you are following them and they're following you. So basically you're subscribing to each other's posts and seeing what they're doing online and seeing who they're talking to. Really important. Netiquette is internet etiquette, and it's how to behave. Basically, that golden rule of treat others as you wish to be treated, saying, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. That whole concept of making sure that kids know that once they put something online or once they put something in writing, whether it's on Facebook or on a blog, that it's out there for the world. And even if they think they've deleted something, the other people that are friends with them could have forwarded it on already without, and even if they deleted it, it's too late. We'll look at that in a couple of slides here. Online communities. So there are many positives to being connected, and as teachers, we know that we learn best from each other. And now that we have the whole world at our fingertips, we can really build strong learning communities. Students build strong online communities through gaming and other social sharing like Instagram, which are photos. And that's just how they participate in the world. with their friends. I know my daughter's made a few friends through playing games on the Xbox, and being, cautious as I am, I'm a little nervous about when she wants to meet these people face to face, and we go with her, and sure enough, it's teenagers her age that live across town. She has a friend in Canada that she's never met in person. But it's just really interesting the kinds of relationships that kids can form, even just through playing games online. And then the whole ethical behavior. So, thinking about whether or not, if you look at that image on the side, there's a nice acronym of THINK. So, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So, trying to keep that in mind before they post anything on any social media. And, telling the truth and just being kind to other people. Cyberbullying is a pretty important topic at schools, and it's pretty difficult because thinking about bullying, just normal bullying, that's harmful enough. But if the bullies are coming after you when you're online, it's even scarier. So Common Sense Media, their lessons that focus on cyberbullying look at the power of words, being a bystander versus an upstander. There's scenarios that they work out where instead of being a bystander where you see it happen and let it happen, how to become an upstander where you stand up for people, you stand up for what is right, you don't let things continue to happen that are wrong. It's pretty tough. And we have seen in the news of kids that are committing suicide because they're being bullied online, and it's just it's incredible how cruel kids can be, and having that anonymity online can make it even worse. So starting out in the primary grades, the students learn about bullying and what they can do if they encounter it. And then as they grow through the grades, learning how to distinguish if something is just teasing or is it cruelty, looking at what digital drama is. And I think girls um, are more of the offenders of this than the boys are, because they like to keep the drama going between the different groups of girls. And then also what to do if they are a victim, or if they know someone who's a victim of cyberbullying, and learning how to talk to parents, talk to teachers about getting help. So I found this interesting little graphic. So tips for students. Truly, with cell phones nowadays, kids are in constant communication with everybody. And make sure you tell them not to erase anything, because it can be used as evidence. Also, never agreeing to meet face to face with anyone unless parents are with you. So if you just take a look at some of those tips, make sure you pass those on to your students. And this is a nice comparison chart of bullying and cyberbullying. And really, cyberbullying is much, much, much worse than that regular face-to-face bullying. It's constant. There's no break from it unless they're, totally shut off from all online or gaming communication. It's hard to escape it. The bully can be more anonymous. And because the bully doesn't see the victim and doesn't see the impact that what they're doing is having, it's really hard for them to feel bad. And the problem is with much social media is it can keep getting forwarded and posted to other social media, and it just gets out of hand like seriously fast. So a lot of good lessons and resources on Common Sense Media about cyberbullying. Our next topic is digital footprint and reputation. And the question for this one is, what do others think of me based on what I post online? So that delete in quotes, like I said a few slides ago, they might delete it, but it could have already been forwarded on or screen captured, or, this friend told that friend what you said. So it's really hard to get rid of something once it's been posted online. Getting permission from others. So when you're taking photos or you're visiting somewhere and you check in on Facebook, or you tell people where you are and you tag your friends that are in it. So basically you're saying who else was with you. They need to know that some parents don't want their student or their children's whereabouts known all the time. And so it's really a good thing for kids to think about asking, is it okay if I post or if I tag you in this photo that I'm putting up on Facebook? It's just a good set of manners to have when you're dealing with social media. If you ever have Googled yourself, you know that sometimes you find things on there that are not even you. And especially if you have a common last name, you may find a lot more. Even with my name, I've found several different profiles of people that are not me, but they have the same name and spell the same way I do. And there's been one or two that were very kind of questionable, that I wouldn't want to be associated with me. But because it's their name and their stuff, I can't really do anything about it. But it is a good idea to just go onto Google and search for your name and see what comes up. And this is really good for older kids to do as well, especially in high school, before they're getting ready to graduate, or if they're looking to get a part-time job. They really do need to look and see what's living online that they may not know about. Sexting is a big topic of concern at schools. Students taking inappropriate pictures of themselves or of other people and then texting it, forwarding it along to everybody that they know, and then before you know it, it's all over school. Unfortunately, some kids don't get the message the first time that they get in trouble for it, and some can eventually be put on the sex offender list if they keep doing it as they're growing older. So that's something to talk to kids about for sure. And then again, college and career, anything that you're doing online, anything that kids are doing online right now can affect them as they get older. Employers are looking online for potential employees and to see what they're doing. What is their character like? So the lessons that Common Sense Media have, looking at the upper grades especially, what the potential risks are for sexting and for sharing information online and sharing inappropriate information online or pictures. And also for them to think about the privacy of others. I really caution teachers to make sure that they're getting that across to kids if they hear them, if you hear them talking about or sharing videos of friends of theirs doing something stupid and thinking it's great and everything, take those moments to talk to them about potential risks. So these next two videos, the first one on the left has to do with when delete is not really delete and what happens when you post photos. And then the one on the right is about that issue of posting pictures of somebody else and the potential consequences that could come from that. So when the video stops, go ahead and view those two very short videos and then come back to the webinar. Pretty interesting. I like those. I like those short little videos, and I hope that they're getting through to kids that they really do need to think about things. Our next topic is self-image and identity. And the question here is, how do I want to portray myself? So learning how to respect yourself and have responsibility for yourself, where you are in the community. Altered photos. My daughter showed me this app. She's a high school student now. She showed me this app that you can take a picture of yourself and then you can add makeup and change your hair color and length and style and make yourself look completely different. And a lot of girls are using this type of app to create a photo that they share online as an actual photo. So they put it on their Facebook or they put it on their Instagram or Snapchat or whatever other tool that they're using. And they're basically portraying themselves as something other than what they truly are, what they truly look like. And it's really difficult sometimes to be able to distinguish a fake photo from a real one. So some of the lessons that they deal with on for this content is looking at what are the positives of that. So, what are the positives of altering photos versus the negatives. And I didn't mean that pun intentionally there, but the negatives of altering pictures. And what does that do to our perception of reality? It also takes a look at stereotypes and again that digital drama. There's actually a campaign called Delete Digital Drama. And then just what happens to media? What is the nature of it? And what kinds of media habits do you have? So our students, we know they're attached to their phones constantly, but what other media are they getting into? Do they play video games all night long? Do they go into group chat rooms in the evenings? How much time are they spending basically connected digitally? And how does this shape how they feel about themselves? Also taking a look at gender stereotypes and looking at the consequences of having drama online, especially with teenagers. And reality TV does its part. And having students take a look at what is their code of conduct, and this is more in the high school ages. how do I conduct myself online? What are the rules? What are the ways that I know to communicate and behave when I'm online? Do I act differently when I'm online? Our next topic is information literacy. How do I know what's what is the question. So understanding really how to find quality and truthful information. How do I maximize the power of the internet? So learning how to search productively, how to use keywords. So when I find information, how do I find out who has ownership of the work? That goes into plagiarism and pirating. So the lessons that they provide will help them see who has ownership and what you need to do when you're using anything that someone else has created. Also, how to determine if a website is truly a valid website. What are the things to look for? Shopping online. How do you know if this is a secure website? If you're going to put, mom or dad's credit card information on there. Copyright and fair use. So what do I need to do if I use this image or if I want to use some of this information that I found on a website? And then also how to cite online resources. Some of the lessons that they go through, starting in the younger grades, students learn how to search for images or look through the alphabetical listings. They also understand who has ownership of creative work, so they practice putting their name and date on something that they create. What keywords are and how to use them. How to find websites that are appropriate. As they grow up through the grades, they also look at citing websites and how to be strategic when they're doing online searches. And then as they get older into the high school ages, they're exploring more in-depth copyrights and ethical uses of creative work. Which leads us to our next topic, creative credit and copyright. So who owns it and can I use it? And again, looking at ownership, how to remix it, reuse it, rework it. I know that even you listen to the radio, you hear songs that are from the 80s that are remixed with rap lyrics over them. And talking to students about that kind of idea of remixing music and getting them to understand that the artist today had to contact the artist that created that original song and get permission to be able to do that. Also, this topic explores again photos and retouching photos. And then also benefits and drawbacks of collective intelligence. So when more than one person works on a project, who owns it? And there's certainly benefits to creating something with other people, but there could be some drawbacks as well. So as they get older, in the older grades in high school, they are exploring those issues more in depth. What I really like about Common Sense Media is that they really have a nice scope and sequence to all of the different lessons that they have, and I'll show you that scope and sequence in a few slides. On the next, on this one, this is a kind of a funny video. It is 10 minutes long, but you will probably not want to watch the whole 10 minutes. It's kind of a funny use of different Disney movies, little clips to explain the Fair Use Act and copyright. So when the video stops, you can watch a minute or two of it. If you want to watch all 10 minutes, go for it. But you'll get the idea what I'm talking about when you start watching the video. So go ahead and watch the video and then come back to the webinar. Welcome back. Looking at this is ISTE's 9 elements of digital citizenship. Now if you look, the items in blue are the ones that we haven't discussed yet, but all of those other things in pink were also part of the Common Sense Media curriculum. So these are just some that are in addition to the other ones. So let's take a look at these. Digital access means that there is equitable access to the internet information for everyone worldwide. And this has become quite the hot topic for, I know the president has talked about trying to provide broadband internet nationwide so that everyone can participate in the digital society at all acceptable levels that they choose. So it's slowly becoming a reality that every person in the world can connect to every other person in the world. Now that's very powerful and crazy to think about too, but there's a lot of infrastructure and cabling and wiring and all that kind of stuff that needs to happen for that to be a reality, and for also all people to have access to some kind of device to get online. So it's not just the infrastructure, but it's also the devices. And I mean, we have many countries that are just trying to get indoor plumbing. So this may not be a priority for those countries. But eventually, I'm confident that this can happen. Thinking about access makes me think of also students with special needs and making sure that they have access to tools and resources that help them not only learn better, but just have a better quality of life because they can use technology to kind of fill in some of the gaps that they may have. Also for providing programs for increasing access to learning outside of school, trying to make sure all of our students and families have access. So this is a huge goal, and it's not going to come quickly, but I really think that several world leaders think that this would be a good thing. Where I know in some countries not so much, I think that it's important that everyone can be connected. Digital commerce. So buying anything online, selling anything online. Do they have the knowledge and protection to buy and sell in the digital world? Thinking about the amount of economy, the market economy that's going on online is crazy. I'd probably do 80% or more of my shopping online. I know I do most of my Christmas shopping online. I know I do a lot of just some of my day-to-day stuff as well, like on Amazon. And it's incredible, seriously, what you can do as far as doing business online. People are are doing their banking, they're paying their bills. I mean, you can even take a picture of a check and deposit it into your bank account. It's really just amazing. But if kids don't understand the power of that and understand how to keep that kind of information also safe, then it could be a problem for them in the future as they grow into adulthood. So things like PayPal, where you can pay for things online, a lot of times it's connected to a checking account, but it could also be connected to a credit card. Just really learning how to navigate that online economy. Here's a cute little, looks like a game board, but it's showing you the life of an e-commerce order. So starting here, where you're actually going onto the site and buying something, and what happens to it as it goes through the whole process before it finally arrives at your door. So this is a really interesting one. And when you get into the resources on the Pinterest board, this will be there. You can see it larger and probably download it and print it out as well. And here's another interesting graphic. They're a little more simplified. So placing the order, credit card's being charged, the email is sent, and then it's shipped to the customer. The next topic is digital health and wellness. Now this, I can speak from personal experience, how working on a computer all day, every day is could be kind of hazardous to your health and wellness. So if you look at that image on the lower left, you see the person grabbing their hand. I own several different hand and wrist braces because of the work that I do. I am online quite a bit. I'm on my computer. And sometimes it's hard, especially when you have a laptop too, like even to put away the work when you get home. But it's really something that I have to keep striving for balance. And just because I can do it doesn't mean I should. So I have to really be careful not to do too much work when I'm not working. But looking at how to maintain a balance, physical and psychological, when we are connected so often, and thinking about your eyes, your eyesight. The lower right corner, you see that image of a person playing a video game. And it says, if it's no longer a game if you stepped out of real life. This is a reality, and it's pretty scary. We have obesity problems with not only adults but children, and a lot of it has to do with them being connected to a computer, to a television, to a video game. And so these are real concerns to be aware of. And there will be some more resources for you to check out, how to help children and possibly adults that maintain that balance. I thought this was an interesting graphic. The whole concept of have we truly evolved kind of idea. Which leads us to our ergonomics. So looking at what kind of chair do you have, or do you even use a chair? Should you be standing? I know I stand most of the time. I have a standing desk. How is the monitor positioned? What about your keyboard and your mouse? How often do you get up from your seat and walk around? Sitting is a serious health issue. If you sit all day long, there's a whole lot of other problems you could have with your back, with your legs, your weight gain from sitting too much. So things to think about. Here's a couple examples of the standing desks, or the ball with the to help you sit appropriately for your back. And I thought these were kind of funny. Scary thought, this little boy trying to pull him away from the computer. And then our funny little log off warning. Yep, it'd be nice to, if the computer actually had built-in reminders that you needed to get up and move around. Internet addiction. A lot of times we hear about this when it's related to pornography or other sites that are inappropriate. Adults and kids can get addicted to being online, playing video games. Again, it could really take over their lives if no one is there to guide them and help them find a balance. And I know there are tools to put time limits on the computer, put time limits on a television, put time limits on a video game. So just being aware that you can do that. You can inform parents that they might want to check into that. We can't control what they're doing when they're at home, but we can make suggestions. And again, education is the key. So resources for making sure parents understand some of these characteristics that could be harming their children. Now, I know there's at least one person watching this webinar that has done this. It's really quite, it's funny, but it's pretty sad too, that many of us who grew up without technology, how sometimes we cannot even put it down when we need to go to the bathroom. Interesting. It also brings to mind some potential health hazards other than psychological health, but actually germs. So just saying, wash your hands, leave the phone out in the kitchen, and, take 2 minutes for yourself and not be connected. And there are a lot of resources also. Common Sense Media, and we'll take a look at that. A lot of resources available for parents. Their website is mostly dedicated to parents, but they do have a great section for teachers as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Common Sense Media, they have iBooks, so if you have an iPad or an iPhone, you can download those. Those are free, or you can just use them on the computer as well. And this is their whole digital citizenship curriculum here. Links to the iBooks textbooks, the videos. There's some games that they have for the iPad, and also for Droid devices. There's some posters to put up in your classroom, and they have different toolkits as well. All of this is free. So let's take a look at the scope and sequence. I've mentioned several lessons at different grade levels. These are the 8 different categories. And then below you'll see the same icons down here for each grade level. So here's grades K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. And you'll see the same topics repeated. They're spiraling throughout so that kids get a continual exposure to these topics. You can filter by grade band here. You can also filter by topic if you push on the buttons. So if I just want to see digital footprint and reputation, let's say I'm a high school teacher, I can just see which ones deal with that topic. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these and I'll show you what they include. You do have to create an account to be able to download them, but they are free. You don't have to print them out if you don't want to, but sometimes you might find that necessary. And look, it's all done for you. Gives you possible questions to ask. Tells you how long each lesson or activity would take. Okay, it is aligned to the Common Core, and the NETS S, which is from ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education. And again, all of this is free. There's a family resource that you can send home or post on a website. Okay. And there's videos for them to watch, also in Spanish. Okay. And then for educating families, there's a whole list of ideas that you can use to get together with parents and let them know that you are talking to their children about digital citizenship. If you have a one-to-one situation in your schools, so one-to-one, so one device per kid, which would be awesome. Basically some step-by-steps there. They have separated by videos as well. There's a blog. Graphite's another tool that's not focused on digital citizenship, but on the Common Core. And what's nice is you can, I'll just spend a couple minutes on this one. You can search by content, grade level, and standard. And it will give you all kinds of resources, some free, some paid, that will help support each of those different standards. And it gives you a teacher rating and a learning rating. And you can click through straight from there. Their main Common Sense website, which is Common Sense Media, they actually go through and help you find appropriate movies, games, TV shows, books, apps, websites, and music. So if you're looking for a particular age level, let's say 5 through 8, I can click on any of these and just hit go. And these aren't all educational, they're just regular, some of them are just entertainment, but it shows you the appropriate age level for certain games. This one I searched for games. If I wanted to look at movies, I could do that. Let's say I just want to know movies for 5 and 6-year-olds. Okay, so it's a good tool for parents as well. And there's an app for the iPhone that you could actually enter your different children and their ages, and it will constantly be updated with appropriate media for them to use for their age group. Okay, so we're at the end of the webinar. I want you to think about those 6 dimensions of 21st century learning and tell me the 3 that are most supported by the use of the tools and the resources that are mentioned in the webinar. So thinking about Common Sense Media and the ISTE concepts for what digital citizenship is. And then come back after you have answered that question. Okay, did you get them right? So use of technology for learning is a huge one because that's the focus of a lot of what we talked about here is they're online and they're using it for learning, but they also have to think about what are they doing socially? How are they searching for things for school? How are they using the internet and using resources they find online in the things that they're doing for school? So if they're creating a project, looking at copyright, looking at fair use, looking at the validity of websites, are they quality? And then collaboration and communication go hand in hand when you look at any type of ongoing conversations that are happening between one or 2 or more students, whether it's hopefully when you're working with them with a digital citizenship curriculum, they are talking about all those different elements and aspects of digital citizenship and finding that evidence to show them that this site is secure, finding evidence that shows them that this person who I'm talking to or who I think I'm talking to is actually that person, and being able to determine whether certain websites are appropriate for them, thinking critically about what they're posting online and sharing with other people. So why is this important? Well, just about having regular citizenship. So think about, why do we teach kids how to behave? Why do we as a society have appropriate behavior when we're together? It's basically so that we all communicate effectively, work together effectively, and so it's the same thing. Kids have their face-to-face life and they also have their digital life, and it's up to us to let them know what is okay for them to do online and what are the consequences if they do something inappropriate, and what are the consequences if they do something amazing. And it's really what is exciting is having a whole world of people where you can be essentially a global community. It's very exciting, and as long as kids know how to navigate that world, they'll be great, and they can, flourish with the opportunities that are presented to them. Our students and our children can make connections to people all over the world and could potentially find love, find a career, really make connections that were not possible before we had the internet. More ideas and resources are found on the Pinterest board. So I'll go ahead and click there to show you. And more will be coming. To navigate Pinterest, you click on the image and you click on the image again, and it brings up a website with information. Okay, so let's go back to the main board. So I can pick any of these. And again, so you click it once to make it bigger, you click it again to go to the actual website that the image is bookmarking. This is a great infographic here that you can print out. Okay, so that's the Pinterest board. You will always have access to that. And our disclaimer. With any digital or online tools that you are using with students, if they are having to create an account, if any of their personal information is being shared online, any of their work is being shared online, you need to make sure that you are in compliance with privacy laws, and make sure that you've talked to your administrator and gotten parent permission as well for any of the tools that you are using. And for more information, you can go to this other Pinterest board, which has some really good articles to help you understand the laws. If you want to learn more about being a 21st century educator, please visit our website at wcsd21.com. Follow us on Twitter at WCSD21 and our Pinterest board. And I thank you for your participation, and have a good day.